Love like this. There it is. I've never found a love like this.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. How is your heart after that? My heart was pounding like a good one, and my stress levels have been going through the roof. To my right is Clive, and we're here to talk about Fulham 0, West Ham 1, smash and fucking grab. That's exactly that. Clive, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Obviously, I'm happy that we've got a victory here, but oh god, I don't know how I can cope with us playing like that for the rest of the season. I don't know about yourself, but
Yeah,
that's nervy. That is some nervy stuff.
yeah. I'm going to be honest. Yet again, I'm going to say it like I said last Saturday. I don't really care about the performance as such, as long as we win the game. But we can't keep playing like that. That's the problem.
Yeah,
I thought today we was absolutely dreadful. I don't want to be too negative because we've won the game, but it papers over a lot of cracks today, massively. Like, I don't know about you.
yeah. I mean, it's clear that. Fulham's form has gone down in the last few games. And I think that showed today. Obviously, without a couple of their key players, Mitrovic included, who they're going to be without for quite a while by the looks of it now. But I mean, when you see the games that we've got coming up, we cannot play like that. I even think if we played like we did today, Bournemouth beat us. And that's quite worrying, really, because if you look at the results across the board today, you know, on another given day, we're 12 and probably 5 points away from the relegation zone. But no, we're not. We're 12 and we're only 3 points above the zone, which isn't as safe as you'd want to be, I guess. But I think we've put enough of a safety net to look forward to the first leg of the European Conference League, which is good. So I think if we put in a strong performance to that, I mean, it's probably a given that we're going to lose to Arsenal at this point, which is a bad way of thinking, but I'm just accepting it already. But if we concentrate on the midweek fixture, and then then we've really got to concentrate on Bournemouth from that, because it's dire watching us like that. But we've got the one goal and we've won the game. So I guess you could complain, but you kind of know that we're in the nitty-gritty part of the season.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, I said it last week, and I said it all through the week. This week will tell me where we're at as a club.
Yeah.
Last Saturday, we get the win, 1-0, Southampton. Wasn't pretty, but we got the job done. On Wednesday, we got absolutely obliterated. And I'm going to be honest, I was nervous about today. I was thinking, if we win today, 2 wins out of 3 games ain't bad. Like, it's not bad. Like, do you know what I mean? We would have all said at the start of last weekend, if we get 6 points out of the next 3 games, we'd all accept that. Now, for me, it does paper over a lot of cracks today, and I will get into the game, because the game was just dead, really. If I'm being honest, for me as a West Ham fan, that first half was just, we was okay, but there was no cutting edge from us, other than the only decent bit of play that Jared Bowen done to weave through, make the chance, get the goal. Then after that, I don't really remember their keeper having to make any clear-cut saves. Do you know what I'm saying? Only from Danny Ings, probably, in the second half. But other than that, it was just Fulham were just literally dominating us. And that's the worry. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, in the first half alone, we had one opportunity on goal. And that obviously ultimately was a goal. But the first half reading doesn't sound too great. I mean, 1 shot to their 7, but we had 1 on target. They had none. I mean, our passing percentage in the first half was 57%. We had 22% of possession in the first half, but in the game we only had 24% against Fulham. In total, we only ended up having 2 big chances today, 9 shots in goal, which was just over it was around 55% of the amount of shots that Fulham had. So it makes you think, when we've got the big clubs coming up, what's going to happen. It's worrying because
but hopefully, though, Clive, time we get to Manchester City in May, we might be clear of danger. Do you know what I mean? Like, if we were to play Man City next week, then I would be worried. But I'm hoping that this might kick West Ham up the arse. Do you know what I'm saying? I just want to get to this from Steve Bell. Yeah, typical West Ham. We start with 2 up top, and win with an own goal. Unbelievable. Thank you very much, Steve. As always, really do appreciate your $4.99 super chat. I agree, mate. Listen, it wasn't pretty today. It's a smash and grab performance. This reminds me of Aston Villa away this season. Same thing again, 0-0, boring game. We were by far like second best in that game. We nick a goal and win the game 1-0. It's literally like a repeat of that.
Exactly. It's exactly that. And the sad thing is, you could look at plus sides. It's only our second win away from home in the Premier League this season. But at the same time, when you compare that performance to the one that we had at home against Fulham, we beat Fulham at home 3-1, but we've played. But you can tell the confidence is shot because the way we played today versus what we played closer at the beginning of the season, completely different team. How we looked.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a tough one.
The problem is, right, let's talk about the team today. Right, he changed it massively today. Yeah, and for me, I don't understand why he went so mad with the changes, and obviously got no faith in the players that he signed. Like no Aguerd in this team, but I thought was bad. But I'm not being funny. Bonner and Zuma today were decent. I will give him that. I will say,
Ogbonna didn't have Mitrovic to face. I think exactly, if Mitrovic faced West Ham today, I don't think Ogbonna starts. But it's a weird one. I don't know if perhaps Moyes actually sees it as, okay, let's protect Aguerd so he doesn't get injured and try and
big up Lewis.
Big up. Saw the amount as well. I don't know if he's like tried to keep him sort of fit for the midweek fixtures coming up for the Europa Conference League. I don't know if he's seen it as that. I know in the news he'd kind of hinted that, if he had to choose between Europe and the Premier League, it would be the Premier League. But I think there is a method to that madness, and I think it's keeping a couple of the players fresh for the midweek fixture. And it's not necessarily just that we've got a midweek fixture. If you actually think about it, I think once we have our European match, we've got 4 or 5 games in the space of 10 to 12 days. So it is quite a hefty sort of fixture period, and perhaps this is where he felt this is the best opportunity to rest more of the key players, even though it came at a bad time after what happened at Newcastle with Aguerd making a mistake and stuff like that.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to be honest. I think the Arsenal game next week's a free hit. I don't expect nothing from that Arsenal game. I think what he's done is he's rested these players for Ghent, and he's going to try and do Ghent over there and try and win the game over there and win the tie, basically. If West Ham can go to Ghent and get the job done over there, get back to London, face Arsenal in a free hit. Yeah, because it will be a free hit because we're not expected to get nothing at it, like the way Arsenal are playing.
100%.
And then the following week, you can sort of have a sort of second side out against Ghent. Then the following Saturday or Sunday, will be Bournemouth. That is it. Like that is.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? I think at the same time we can't afford for our goal difference to get to the points of teams like Bournemouth or Nottingham Forest who have really bad goal differences. I mean, ours has only started to look a little bit more interesting after that Newcastle game because we were in the single digits or around -10 at that point. I think we're now at like -14 after today's game. But yeah, I mean, when you look at the games we've got, I mean, we can't let Arsenal win 4 or 5-0. We can't do the same with Manchester City. So, I think having the more important players for those games just to keep the deficits down a little bit, providing they don't make the mistakes they did against Newcastle, is probably another reason behind it. And do you know what? I'm happy that Fabianski proved a lot of people wrong today as well. Because a lot of people called for his head. And like I pointed out, he had a fantastic game against Southampton. He is why we won that game ultimately. And against Newcastle in the first half, if you look at the first half performance, he kept us in the game. Yes, he made a mistake in the second half, but you could argue so did a few other players. And a couple of those players were benched today. But I don't think it's based on the individual errors midweek, personally.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I really do. Well, let's talk about the first half. Obviously, it was a flat game. We scored a goal, got in front. Then West Ham were getting dominated by Fulham massively. Like, I mean, like the 4-4-2, people were saying about playing two players up front, two strikers, sorry, up front. But when you can't get the ball, it's not very good. Then we come to half time, and so I'm thinking Moyes is going to change it. He's like, there's no way he can carry on with that, getting dominated. He comes out second half and does absolutely nothing, mate. Like, what did you make of that second half?
So I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying as well, and I in a way you would like to see the changes, but
Yeah,
you also have to say Fulham didn't necessarily threaten us too much in the sense of you didn't feel like they were going to score one of their opportunities.
right.
I mean,
But,
there was a couple of times where you could think they would, and if you look at
yeah,
our history in the last few games, you would have to say our defense is a bit nervy, and don't necessarily have the confidence. But I could see that I can see that he wanted to wait those 10 minutes, at least at the beginning of the second half, just to see what Fulham had done and changed about, I think. And
yeah,
obviously at that point, he's noticed that they're retaining the ball at a better rate at that point, I think. And then he has then gone to make a couple of changes. But you could tell there was also a reluctance for him to bring on certain players. Like for me, if you're going to make a change, that's where you bring a Guerd on or a player of that sort of caliber, but he didn't really do that in those first 15 minutes. You could tell there was a reluctancy, which says that he was sticking to his guns and sticking to his plan of resting those players.
I think he got away with it personally today.
He has
Massively,
he has.
yeah. And I think he's got away with it by the skin of his fucking teeth. I know people are going to be out and say like it's a masterclass, but they've got to get real. It wasn't a masterclass. We got fucking lucky today that Fulham was shit. If Fulham were good today, we ain't winning that. We ain't winning that game. Like, I don't know whether a draw. I agree on this comment from John. 1000%. A West Ham player not scoring from open play is in such a long time is a huge concern. Maxwell Cornet runs through in the second half, and he should be burying that chance. Right? If that don't go in, and they can.
Well, Benny was free.
Yeah, Benny was free.
Benny was free as well.
Syed Ben Rama should be slotting that ball away when he's having a shot. Yeah, he's got to be getting on target, Benny. Yeah, and that's coming from me. What did you make of the Danny Ings? Before I bring someone on, what did you make of the Danny Ings substitution? The fans were saying, like, you don't know what you're doing. I think it was the right call to take Ings off.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know what you think, but I thought it was the right call. Get him off because he's looked injured to me.
Yeah, I don't think he's looked great. I also don't think Antonio looked that great today, which was... I don't feel like he pressed as much as he should have, but you could argue both of the both of the strikers could have come off today. I think at the same time, I think it was the right choice. And if you're looking at the aspect of Scamacca being injured, we've been told it's a couple of weeks, but his injuries since January have been quite a number. And at this point, say if Moyes is to bring or play both the strikers at the same time, you've got no spare strikers left because Scamacca is injured. So, I think there's a reason behind taking off a striker, even if it's not everyone's cup of tea, so to speak.
Yeah. West Ham Online has 10 minutes. Your 10 minutes start now, West Ham Online. Take it away. What do you want to say?
What a win. It wasn't great on the eye. It was
bad though, West Ham Online, let's be honest.
I didn't enjoy I loved watching it, but I can see why people didn't enjoy watching it. And it wasn't what we want to aim to play at the start of the season. We didn't set out to play like this, but in the context of the relegation battle, it was a crucial 3 points. I thought we defended excellently, and I thought we had the better chances in the end. We didn't take them. The strikers, the finishing from the forwards, particularly Cornet at the end, was abysmal, but got the win. Brilliant win. Fulham didn't really look like scoring. They had one good chance, and that's when the guy went through and Fabianski made an absolutely brilliant stop. Apart from that, I thought we were I thought as bad as it was to watch and we didn't have enough of the ball, I thought we deserved to win the game.
We certainly can't play like that against Bournemouth because we won't score.
Do you think we deserve to win the game, West Ham, or not?
Yeah, mainly because Fulham were terrible, I thought. Despite the fact Fulham had 75% possession, they didn't create anything. We created the better chances. We defended excellently, so we deserve to win. If you
look at the XG, if you actually look at the XG, I know it's not everyone's favourite stat, but they had 0.7 and ours was 1.1. even with the less shots. I mean, that shows how the lack of penetration that Fulham had today in terms
I
of their
understand.
shooting.
I've got to call you out on this, though, West Ham. I know what you're saying, but looking at that game, if Fulham were better on the day, they would have beat us. It's as simple as that. Like, I just don't understand. Like, I think Maxwell Cornet goes through. If he scores, yeah, maybe I would agree. But I thought we was hanging on for dear life from the moment we scored. Let's be honest.
Well, we weren't hanging on necessarily. We were defending deep, and it wasn't great to watch. But we were comfortable. I felt Fulham didn't look like scoring. They didn't have any good chances really, apart from the one time they went through. I can't remember having to make a top save apart from that.
Well, he made a good save from their centre half, from centre half, and they're straight at him, but he still stayed with it. The Pereira one, I think, when he gets down low and he knocks it away, I think that's a top class save. Let's be real. Like, if he goes round Fab there.
Oh no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was the really good save. Fab won us the game at times today,
and there's that. I understand what you're saying, but when you're getting dominated by Fulham, that's not good, is it? Let's be real.
It's not good, but in the context of relegation battle, I've accepted that Moyes is leaving at the end of the season now, so I think we have to put up with the poor football just until the end of the season and just focus on it.
I think when you're in a relegation fight as it is, we all said it was going to be a tedious watch. It's just so... I think saying it and seeing it feels like two different things, because I see what James is saying. Like, you know, we all called it. We all said the same thing. We all said it's going to be a shit little watch this latter end of the season, but actually seeing how bad it is, it's actually heartbreaking, especially when you look at the team sheet and you're like, we have these players and we're playing like this. Like, it just feels a lot worse when you're seeing it, I think.
I think the result covers over a lot today. Because when I look at West Ham today, and I'll be honest, like, did West Ham go, right, we're up for this today, and like, we're going to sort of impose ourselves on Fulham? I thought...
I don't think...
Not that.
I don't think this necessarily papers cracks, though, this game, because I think it shows exactly what kind of dogfight we're in for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, when we were getting results a few weeks ago, say like the end of January, and like, you know, Newcastle away and a couple of the other games, you know, that was papering over the cracks because we seem to have a little bit more fight about us. But now I think we're settling for we know we're in a scrap, we know we're in danger, and we're just trying to find anything to just win. And I think that's the thing. Like, if you're an owner and you're looking at that performance, you can't go, well, that's why I spent 100-odd million in the summer for this. So
no,
I don't think. I don't. Yeah, I don't think this papers the cracks. Yeah, but that's what I mean. I think we're now all on the same page, where it's a case of, I think even he knows his time is up. I mean, Admin fucking knew his time is up. Did you see the picture for the Fulham game?
They should be sacked, mate.
We're all in the lifeboats rowing, mate.
Yeah. Go on, West Ham.
I don't know what you guys think, but I thought the booing of the sub when Ings came off of Downs, I thought
agree.
it was the right sub. I didn't agree with that. And then them chanting, they're entitled to the opinion, their fans, saying you don't know what you're doing and the Moyes out banner and all that. But them going at Moyes for not clapping him at the end, if I was manager, I wouldn't have wanted to clap fans who were chanting stuff like that towards me, personally. So I get fans at the end. I know that's not going to be a popular opinion, but
I understand.
He's giving vibes. Sorry.
Yeah, I just want to say this a minute, but I understand the reason why they're chanting at West Ham.
No, I understand the reason, but I understand as well why Moyes didn't clap him.
Listen, I get that, but when the fans are just like watch 90 minutes of that football, and we've had to grind that out. I mean, literally, fucking grind it. Like, literally, I think every West Ham fan watching that game today, like their blood pressure went through the roof. Like, watching every time Fulham were coming forward, it shouldn't be like that, and we shouldn't be playing like this, but we are, and I'll never forget it, and I keep bringing it up. And Kane's going to be on the player ratings tomorrow night. He said it to me a long time ago. He said Moyes will just grind this out for this season. He'll keep grinding out wins, and basically, this is what it's going to be. It's going to be stop-start from now to the end of the season. So I understand why the fans are pissed off with Moyes. But I'm pissed off with Moyes. You know what I'm saying? So I can relate to that. The substitute, I agree with you 100%. I thought Danny Ings was okay, but just okay for me. Like, again, like, he has a good chance in the second half. Good save from Leno, mind, but it's still like he has a decent chance. But he should have been subbed off.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
understand that one.
But
Maybe
I
it's not-
think the fans are just going to boo anything that he does at this point
Yeah.
because I think we all know as a fan base. I think as a fan base, everyone's just done. But at the same time, like I say, he gives Sam Allardyce vibes at this point. You know, I think Allardyce gave up. You know, at a latter end of the season where he was like, I can't be asked even saying anything about the fans except from negative stuff. And I think Moyes is now going down that path because he knows what's happening at the end of the season. He's out of there.
Yeah,
A couple of players I want to praise quickly, James.
Go on, mate.
Into the team today, I thought they put a real good job in. Bowen, I thought he had a lot of fight in him today. Obviously, he had a hand in the goal. He looked committed to the badge today, and that's what we needed.
I agree.
Creswell, I believe Emerson should be starting. I'll put that out there now before I believe Emerson should play, but I thought Creswell was superb defensively today, which he hasn't been as of late. So it was great to see. Soufal, I thought he was fighting for the badge. I actually thought Soufal played quite well. Had a hand in the goal as well. That was pretty much it. But Zuma as well. Sometimes he clears it when he doesn't need to. But he's
safety first, isn't he? That's what he is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I said it in the WhatsApp group. He was irritating me, Zuma today. He done well, don't get me wrong, but every time he gets the ball, he always seems to put it in row Z when he don't have to. And I'll never forget, Mitch told me this ages ago. He said, Jones, watch him when he plays. Yeah, it's always straight into for a throw-in. Like, it's always in row Z all the time. So he was good today. I thought Obonna was decent. I think the mix-up in the second half between Obonna and Cresswell was a bit worrying, but they sorted it out. They managed to sort of clear their heads and kept going again. I'm going to get to this comment from Snazzy quickly. And then I'm going to ask West Ham Online a few questions and I'm going to let him go. Guys, can we just appreciate how fucking loud the away fans were? I agree. The away fans were brilliant. They were literally pushing this team on today. The fans were pushing the team till the end. The fans shouldn't be criticised here. They spent good money to watch that dross. I agree. The way fans were banging today. Right. The only thing, one thing I will say, I don't agree with them saying about you don't know what you're doing with the Ings thing. Yeah, because I think Ings should have come off. That's just my opinion. Yeah, but as a whole, every fan that went today were brilliant. They like, even when West Ham were getting backed up. I mean, West Ham in the second half was literally getting. They was defending quite a lot of the time and trying to hit for them on the break most of the time. They was brilliant, absolute top class. West Ham Online. I'm going to ask you a few things.
Yeah.
Best player today for West Ham for you?
Oh, good question. Before I say it, one more player who came on and done well. I thought Flynn Downs done really well coming on. But my man of the match was Kurt Zuma.
Worst player for West Ham today?
Everyone sort of played on a similar level because we were just sitting back. But worst player probably Danny Ings.
How do you think 4-0 was played today? And I'm not trying to trigger you or nothing. I'm asking you a genuine question.
I don't think he was good, but I thought he'd done defensively. He was helping Creswell out a lot. Ben Rama came on and sort of done the same thing, to be fair to him. But it wasn't the perfect game for any player. I don't think any player could look magnificent in the way we played. The only forward player that I think covered himself in real glory was Jarrod Bowen. I don't think Fornals was good, but at the same time, it wasn't perfect circumstances for him today.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Tomas Soucek for you?
I don't think he was terrible. Obviously, he's not good on the ball. He's never going to be good on the ball. But in the system we used today, where it was a low block and they were swinging balls in, I thought Soucek done well. I thought he was putting his body in front of everything. Thought he was defending well, covered a lot of ground. I know people don't like that sort of stuff, but in the system we used today, I thought he done all right.
I weren't really. I thought it was very bitty today, Clive, with him. I don't know why. It was just 1 minute he was all right, and then another time he was mistiming tackles. He was fouling a lot and giving away free kicks. I was thinking, what's going on?
I'm going to have fun with this, as we know that I'm very pro Soucek here. So just some irony that I would like to provide people with. So today, Soucek, accuracy with his passes at 55%, 11 out of 20, right? Let's just go to Vladimir Soufal, who everyone is saying was one of the better players today. 10 accurate passes compared to his 22. That's 45%. Why is it two? This is what I mean. So Soufal, for me, Yeah, all right, he's a defender and whatnot. He did some good things, which is why I wouldn't say he was the worst player. But everyone's, I mean, if our two Czech players have got something in common, they can't pass the ball to an accurate West Ham player here. But it baffles me that the fan base is just attacking Soucek. It seems to be just we're going to go for Soucek here, which is why I'm a pro Soucek fan. I'm here to defend his rights, and if he ever needs me in a court case, I'll provide my help for free for him, pro bono and all that.
There you go, Soucek. You've got a lawyer. You've got a lawyer in Clive. I got to disagree though. I think he was okay today, but it's in moments with him. Right? I don't recommend anyone going and watching that game back because it was just fucking diabolical. Yeah, but if anyone did go and watch that game back and watch Tomas Soucek, in some moments he's all right, but in some moments he's fouling stupid people in areas where you don't have to foul him. He could hold them up, and he's fouling them and literally putting more pressure on us. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think he's got confidence. I genuinely don't think he has any confidence, even though he's starting the games. I think that is heavily a problem. But we do know he suffers with confidence issues. It's actually the same with Soufal, ironically. But you could argue, is that a manager thing? Is that where the manager is failing those players, the ones that do need those confidence boosts? I mean, we don't see what happens behind the scenes, right? And I'm just trying to think that, are some of these players struggling mentally, during the week, but they're still getting picked to start? I'm not necessarily saying that, he's had a good game here. I think everyone's been basically bang average today, but the way we've played, it was a grind the result, not play beautifully, was it? Let's be honest. And I can understand people's argument. I'm reading in the comments, Soufal did some great defending, yes, but as a defender, when you get the ball out, you also need to retain possession, as to which he wasn't doing that. So, you could look at it in both ways. I'm not saying that I agree that, I'm not saying that Soucek was great. What I'm trying to say and point out to everyone watching is you can't have a go at Soucek when Soufal has done the exact same thing today, albeit with a few good tackles.
The only thing I will say to counter that, this is consistent with Soucek.
It is. I agree. Right. I do agree. I hold my hands up.
And the problem is, people are starting to have enough of it. And Moyes makes 5 changes today, and Soucek's not one of them. So that's the baffling thing.
People asked for Fornals to be back in the starting 11. How did that go today?
Yeah, I know. Don't talk to West Ham Online about that. West Ham Online. Before I let you go, mate, final question from me. Yeah, because I'm going to see if people want to come on. David Moyes today. What you saying?
Only 4 teams have won away at Craven Cottage this season: Newcastle, Arsenal, Spurs, and West Ham United. He's done the double over Fulham now. It wasn't appealing. It wasn't brilliant. But he reverted to his roots, played the players that he trusts, and what do you know, we came out with a win. I thought it wasn't good on the eye, but it was tactics that won the game of football and won it convincingly, in my opinion. I don't think Fulham looked like scoring apart from once. I think we had the better chances. I think we deserved the win, despite the fact it wasn't a good watch. Moyes today gets a 7 out of 10 for me.
7 out of 10. Oh,
winning away at Craven Cottage this season is no mean feat, James.
See, the thing is, I can't argue with you on it because we've won the game, but it just wasn't pretty, mate. Like, we were shit. Like, I'm going to be honest. If that's how West Ham are going to set up and play from now to the end of the season, I do fear against us against the Big Six. Like, going to Manchester City, if we play like that, we're getting done 10-0, mate. Exactly.
But I don't think we can play that way against Bournemouth. Like I keep saying, I think Bournemouth offer more presence in terms of both their counter-attack, but also in terms of their shooting prowess. They do score goals. It's just they concede a shit ton. So, I think I would like to think that David Moyes has had enough managerial experience to... I can't believe I'm defending David Moyes here. Jesus Christ.
You have to, Clive. You've got to be level-headed.
I want to puke when I'm like saying something special about him, but he's been in the game long enough that I think this was very much he's been watching a shit ton of Fulham, especially without Mitrovic, which they've had for a large part of the season. They had it prior to the World Cup, they've had it post World Cup, and
Yeah.
it's an ongoing theme. They really don't offer much when there is no Mitrovic, and
But look at it there.
yeah,
22% possession. That is not sustainable for West Ham.
no,
Like West Ham-
it was awful. I mean, that's what we
22%
had against.
of good possession.
Oh, shut up, West Ham. Mate.
I mean, that's the same percentage as what we had against Manchester City at the beginning of the season, if I'm not mistaken. And the fact that Fulham are getting the exact same is it's disgusting to see. But I guess the difference is we've set up for that situation.
Richard's just putting this to you, West Ham fan. If Alfie can take his mouth off Moyes' junk for a second, we can hear what he's got to say.
No, I'm just level-headed, Richard. I said the setup wasn't good to watch. I don't want to see it all the time. It's not what we paid to see. You know, we didn't pay all this money in the summer to see football like this. At the start of the season, if we were told that we're going to play like this, I would have said Moyes out. But when you're in a situation where you've got 10 games left until now and the end of the season, and we pretty much know Moyes is going to go at the end of the season, all I care about now is getting the 3 points. I don't care if we have 1% possession. If we win, we win.
I think this game today, before I let you go, mate, I think this game today sort of has pushed us into a safer position. I don't think we're safe yet, don't get me wrong, but I do look at it a bit different now. I think we can look at the Arsenal game as a free hit. So and West Ham play better when they're not under pressure, sort of thing. If West Ham had to get something against Arsenal, that's when West Ham might have folded. We have to treat the Arsenal game like a free hit, and the Bournemouth game is the one for me. That's the game that West Ham need to target and go, right, we have to go to Bournemouth and win that game. If we beat Bournemouth, we go up to 33 points. And I would say that another 6 points after that is enough to keep us in this league. This game was massive today, and I told everyone the other week, I said, if we can get 6 points minimum at the next 3 games, I'll be over the moon with that. We've got 6 points and we can't complain. But the only fear I do have is this is not sustainable. If we're going to give teams like 78% possession, that is a lot. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Better teams will punish us, mate, and not only punish us, they will score 2, 3, 4, 5 goals against us. Do you know what I mean?
But the win today for me, just crucial win. I think as I say, I agree completely with what Kane's been saying. I think we will stay up. I don't think it'll be that tight in the end. I think we'll stay up by 5-6 points in the end.
I actually think it helps that Leicester, obviously, not many results went our way, but Leicester lost today, and I think they're 5 points now behind us, which, it doesn't seem like a huge cushion, but it kind of is when they've got one less game. They've only got 8 games left. Leicester's fixtures are a little bit interesting. So, theoretically, if you look at them...
in that interview as well, if you've seen
he did. He made the mistake in the game, but... if you look at it, you could theoretically say, unless Leicester have a quick turnaround, there's 2 teams potentially already out, and that just leaves 1 spot left in that relegation zone where it could be anyone. But maybe that does ease it up a little bit for us, is what I'm thinking.
I agree. I really do. Alfie, I'm going to let you go, mate. Before I let you go, I had said to you at the start of the season, Leicester will finish in the bottom half, right? And me and you had the bet, and obviously the bet is void now because I thought Chelsea would finish above Arsenal, and what a mug I look now, right? But one thing I did say to you, I said Leicester could get relegated, mate, at 14-1. And I turned around and you said to me, there's no way that Leicester could ever get relegated with this team. I think Leicester are massively in the shit, big time. And I think they're dropping like a stone. I think if we can just get away from these teams coming towards the back end of the season, we can get into May and we're clear by 6 points. I'll be over the moon because I think the goal difference will give us another point. I
think next week. Sorry to cut you off, but next week is a big one because obviously if we've got Arsenal, I can tell you that Leicester have Man City, so you don't anticipate that gap's going to get any smaller. But then you look at Leicester's next 3 fixtures, and they're all relegation rivals: Wolves, Leeds, Everton.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, Leicester's fixtures, I'm looking at them now, they're really hard. They have, they've got a run of Wolves, Leeds and Everton where they probably have to win 2 and draw one of them 3 to give themselves a chance.
And Fulham, they've got Fulham after that.
I think Leicester could go probably will. There's a good chance they do go. That losing to Bournemouth at home is the sort of result that will send you down. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
I agree. I really do. Alfie, I'm going to let you go, mate. Take it easy and have a good night out wherever you're going tonight.
Thank you. One more thing. Manager
Go ahead.
Manager.
Goodbye, Alfie. He drives me mad, that kid, but he's one of the boys, isn't he? Listen, if anyone wants to come on while me and Clive are here, I'm going to hang about and wait for Lucas to turn up, because Lucas should be here in a minute. Come on. Like, have your say about West Ham's Day. Tell me what you think. Like, the link is in the chat. It's pinned. So just click on the link, come in, have your say, and tell me what you think. What did you make of what Alfie was saying, Clive, in regards of like his opinion on it? Like, I don't always agree with Alfie, but I think today papers over cracks, but we'll take the win. That's the only thing I can say.
Yeah, I still stand by. I don't think it actually papers the cracks, because I think we've all come to a conclusion now that it's so late into the season that the chances of us even if we'd lost today, I don't think we would have sacked David Moyes. I think we all know where this is going. David Moyes goes at the end of the season. It's a mutual decision. I think everyone can tell it's the same thing. And I think the fan base, for the first time, are perhaps getting more on the same page. The difficulty is obviously that, it's not ideal that we're in this situation when we're still in Europe. It's a sad sight, really, because it's at some point you're going to be like, oh God, like, we're facing these teams in Europe and we're having to play in a similar way or a similar fashion just to sort of, get through these games at this point. But I think Alfie's hit the nail on the head on some of the points. I think, I think we're all going to be dejected fan base come the end of April, if I'm honest.
I think personally, when you look at West Ham right now, you look at the conference, I think that this week's been massive for West Ham. Don't get me wrong, I know I'm speaking sort of simple terms, but the way I look at it is if we would have got 3 points out of these 3 games, then it would have been good enough, in my opinion. I think we've got enough cushion there to go to Ghent, have a go, see how we get on there. The Arsenal game becomes a sort of game where we could get something. West Ham could surprise us, but again, West Ham could lose. Right? I think we're all, as a fan base, we're all expecting West Ham to lose that game, and then the following week is the one, really. And obviously, we want to try and get these points in the bag before we get to the semi-final of this competition, if we make it there. But if we make it to the semi-final, you do not want West Ham to be playing on a Thursday night in a big game, and then we've got a big game on the Sunday, like 2 back-to-back big games. Like it's because it's just not sustainable at the minute, right? So I understand what Alfie's saying, I really do. But
I think it has helped, especially when you look at the aspect of when we do face Arsenal. Arsenal have no other competitions that they're in, so they're solely concentrating on winning their first Premier League title in around 20 years, if I'm not mistaken, almost. So I think they've got a lot to play for. I think even if you had a really good West Ham going on and we weren't in the situation we were in, I think Arsenal, there's a lot of pressure on them, which does kind of help West Ham at that point. But I think at the same time, they're very focused with the manager they have. And I think, I agree with that comment there. It's just you've just popped up there. It is damage limitations. And I'm just looking at the results that, when we went through all the games a couple of weeks ago, I had us getting 5 points from the Southampton, Newcastle and Fulham game. I had 1 win, 2 draws. Obviously, we've got 6 points. So, I think anyone would have taken 6 points out of the 9 prior to the Southampton game, I think.
I agree.
Especially when you look at where Newcastle do sit. I just think it's very sad that we lost by the scoreline that we did lose by. But
I think it's more about how we lost against Newcastle rather than the defeat. I don't think the defeat was a major problem, right? As long as we won today. This is what I said the other night. I said I was so angry that with the way we just, way these players didn't know how to play football anymore. Like, it's just like they can't defend, they can't attack, they can't pass, they can't do anything. It's like getting a load of people who are like novice footballers who just don't know how to play and they want a lot of money. So when I looked at it today, and I just think, you know what? I always believed that West Ham would beat Fulham. Right? I've called it for such a long time. I said West Ham will beat Fulham. Right, and people were going, I don't know about that, James. Like, they're a good side and all that, but I just know this team so well. Like, West Ham always turn up at Fulham, and they've got a pretty good record at Fulham. So nothing surprised me in West Ham. Obviously, next week, as we've said, is a free hit to me. If West Ham get a point against Arsenal, I think we'd all take that and run. Do you know what I mean? If we beat Arsenal, I would say next week you could guarantee safety next week. If we beat Arsenal, Arsenal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Then I would say, you know what? I think we're going to be all right. I think we're going to have enough firepower to get out of this situation that we've got ourselves in. I do agree with something that you said earlier on, which is 100%. Is when you said about if we had all this money and like we would have seen this at the start of the season, people would have gone, "This is just not this is not acceptable." Even Alfie just said it just a minute ago. That to me, just it like we just need to get this done, right? I've got a funny feeling that Moyes won't be here though. Right? I don't know why. I think something's cooking behind the scenes. I really do.
I think it's probably already been told to him. Look, I genuinely think with all the leaks that have happened this year, whether it's player disagreements or like the Noble situation with his director role, and all these things that have come out, I genuinely believe somewhere behind the scenes it's been said, look, we're not going to sack you. Yes, we did look at managers one point in the season, which is what the rumours are. But we kept you here. But at the end of the season, we're going to agree you a severance package, regardless of what happens to West Ham, even if they were to win the Europa Conference. I think, judging by the comments Moyes has made, I think he knows it. I think he's been told it. The way he's answering certain questions would suggest to me there's been a change in his behaviour. I think at this point he knows what job he's got to do. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a bonus for keeping us up, to be quite honest with you, which is probably what's keeping him there.
What an insult, isn't it? What an insult that is.
I genuinely think, when you are that sort of person, when you are a manager, you've got a certain arrogance about you, right? And I'm pretty sure he would have gone, okay, well, if you're going to get rid of me, then I'm going to fucking leave now, unless you, abide by a couple of terms, so to speak. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few things cooking about. I think, I think the best analogy I can give this is it's a bit like watching cricket, Test cricket. It's slow. It's a slog, and especially like if you're down to the 8th or 9th man, they don't hit many runs, but they face off against a lot of balls. And at the moment, I think that's exactly what we're doing. We're slogging this one out just to get us through the line. I genuinely think that's how we're playing these last 9 games, anyways.
Bang on, mate. I bang on agree. I don't know why. I just feel that today just felt different to me today. I don't know about you. I looked at that team. Maybe it's just me, but I just looked at it and I thought, this feels like the end for him today. Yeah, like, it just feels like this is the end. And I looked at that team. It was like the old guard had come in to save the day, basically. I think it's quite insulting to a lot of them, like the older players, like Abona, Cresswell, even Pablo Fornals. Right? I can't believe I'm defending Fornals, but a lot of these players that he's binned for so long. Like Pablo Fornals hasn't seen a game of football in for 90 minutes for a long, long time, especially in the Premier League. Yeah. And it just seems like to me that it just felt like it was the end today. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just overanalyzing it or something, or maybe I'm looking into it too in depth. But it just felt like this is it. This is his last hurrah, and he's going to go out the way he wanted to go out with the team that he started with. Basically, do you know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah, I think there's a mix to it. I think in part you could argue, did he put this team out in the basis of they've got more experience of not bottling in pressure situations? Because this is a pressure situation. We had to get the 3 points. We had to win. We are in a battle. Or, you could look at it the way you've looked at it, which I think there is a point to it. He's gone out with the players that he kind of came in with, and you could go, well, do you know what? Is that where he sees more eye to eye with those players, that he knows that they can carry out his instructions, perhaps? Because, let's face it, if you look at a couple of the other games, you can't necessarily say some of the players have followed the instructions of the manager, which is also down to the players. We've been saying this for the last couple of weeks. Players have to take some blame as well here.
I agree.
And, I think some of the changes made sense. Obviously, a couple of them you've got a query, but if you look at the fixtures coming up, it says to me he was preparing for Europe, and I think it will be quite obvious come Thursday night that he was clearly just saving a couple of the players.
If that is the case, and that is the case, then fair enough. But I think I think that's a gamble, though, isn't it? To go and put in players that let's be honest, these players that he's put in have been second and third choice. Manuel Lanzini, for me, they've had a row. It's as simple as that, because he don't even see the pitch anymore, right? And the only time he does is in Europe. Now, him not even getting on the pitch is one thing. Pablo Fornals, I think the last time he started a game, if I remember rightly, was Derby away in the cup. I might be wrong, or I don't even think it was in Europe.
I think it was. Yeah, no, I think it was Derby. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Derby.
I think it was Derby away. I can't remember the last time Pablo Fornals started a game for West Ham. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but listen, I'm not Fornals' biggest fan. I thought today Fornals was he was okay. It's just okay for me. It's never I don't see the spark that I want to see from him. Do you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. It's a win though. That's the one thing I can say. It's a win, and we're all happy about it. But I just feel that something's cooking in the background. I really do. I'm going to get to a few comments and see what people have got to say for themselves. Rodgers already proven one things plus a good man manager. Rodgers, would you take Rodgers at West Ham? Brendan Rodgers.
He doesn't have a bad track record if you really think about it. I mean, he did win the FA Cup with Leicester. I think the Leicester board situation is perhaps where it's gone wrong. And Leicester back in last summer or prior to last summer had said there wasn't really any funds for Rodgers. He had been dealing with an aging squad. I mean, you look at the age of Jamie Vardy; he's not even starting games at all this season. Do you know what? I don't have an issue with Brendan Rodgers. I just don't know. I say I don't know if he could do it. Do you know what? He did well when he was at Swansea. He's done well everywhere he's gone. He doesn't have longevity at his clubs. I agree. But I guess that's maybe just the thing of the modern day age, really. I mean, who does have longevity in the clubs? I mean, look at what is it? 11 clubs have got rid of their managers this season, or it's over half of them. It's the most manager sackings in a singular Premier League season, by about 3 or 4 at this point, and the season hasn't even ended yet. So, I guess you could argue that no manager really has longevity in the job anymore. It's very rare for that, especially if you're not a top club. So I guess, you could make a good case that Rodgers would be a good choice. He's no worse than David Moyes. So,
I just think it's another manager in this, it's a bit like Moyes. Defensively, as he said here, problem is Rodgers' teams have never been defensively sound. For me personally, I think West Ham need to go in a different direction and not go with these people who have done it at other clubs, but do you know what I mean? Like a name. Yeah, I think they should go for a younger, up-and-coming manager, someone who's got a point to prove, someone who wants to establish themselves as a proper manager in the Premier League. For me, there's many men who are better than Brendan Rodgers for me.
But I think not to make a case for Rodgers here, but I guess you could argue, he's been in the Premier League quite a number of years, and it depends what we're after. Depending on who we, because if you actually look at the managers that we've been linked to, so whether it was Rafa Benitez or Sean Dyche, or let's say Brendan Rodgers in this case, as we're talking about him, you could argue that we're going for the same caliber of manager. And what I mean by that is not necessarily what they've achieved, but more the number of years they have retained a Premier League place with their clubs in the past, or the fact that they've managed to manage for numerous clubs in the Premier League. I think we seem to be going towards an experienced manager with Premier League attributes. So to me, I've got a weird feeling that, when and if Moyes does go, I do believe it will be a manager that is slightly older, slightly experienced with the Premier League, and I don't think it will be something out of the blue. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see someone like Brendan Rodgers, but I don't necessarily think that's the right choice, and I think that's why I'm humming and hawing about it.
Yeah, I agree. I just think it's just someone to grab now when it shouldn't be like that. Do you know what I mean? It's like West Ham should. West Ham should try and get this done. Like once West Ham have guaranteed safety, then I'll get rid of Moyes. Like, do you know what I mean? Once West Ham are in the clear, if West Ham get to 40 points, get him out the door. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, Steve Bell says he would go for Ian Holloway. Oh yeah.
I would just to have the comments. It'd be something to talk about on here.
It'd be brilliant, mate. Obviously, Toby says Michael Carrick is his dream right now. He's in Toby's dreams.
Richard mentioned one that I would want. I want Ange. I actually do want Ange Postecoglou, even though it's a real struggle to say his name at times. But yeah. I think I've not butchered it for the first time there. I would like to see him. I'd like to see a manager that hasn't been in the Premier League yet, that could give us something different, something new. Give the sort of angle of finding players that, you know, the irony is, as a fan base, I'm sure if we sign players in the summer that we've never heard of, which could happen if you get someone like Ange in, you know, we'll probably criticize. We'll be like, is this the direction we want to see? Give it a few months, give it to like November, December of 2023, and we'll probably be like, oh, this has worked out well. I mean, we need to start going down like the Brighton method, where they're getting these players from elsewhere, or even Leicester, when they won the Premier League. I mean, no one knew who Riyad Mahrez was or N'Golo Kante, and you know, and look at what they achieved, and those players are still going strong. So, you know, I think we've got to change our vision as a fan base sometimes, and sort of expect that when we sign players that we may not understand or know much about, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing.
Yeah, bang on. I absolutely agree. But we will see what happens. Clive, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Really do appreciate it. Please do smash a like on the video, and please do subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. I will be back tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Got a big panel coming on tomorrow. I've got Kane from Twitter, Ibby, West Ham Online, Lucas, me, and if anyone else wants to come on, I'll try to see if I can make space. It's going to be an interesting conversation tomorrow, because the game wasn't pretty today, don't get me wrong, but we've got the win. It just feels different today. I don't know why. For me personally, it just feels a bit different in the result. It seems like the end is coming for David Moyes, which is the right thing to do. Like, West Ham can't continue playing this mediocre crap that we're seeing. That's one thing we can't do. Like, we've got to do better than this. That's one thing I will say. So yeah, check it out tomorrow, 8 o'clock. I'll have all the boys on. It'll be a bit of banter. We got the win today, and you know, we can enjoy our Easter a weekend. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, and before I go, I just want to shout out to a young bloke called David Neal. I done a preview yesterday, and this David Neal lad he's local to me. Someone reached out to me and said about him and everything. I'm going to put the link in the description after I've done this for his GoFundMe page. He's got cancer. He's 33 years old. He's fought it once, and he's trying to fight it again, and he needs a bit of help. So if you could just chuck a few quid in over the weekend, just to help him out, I would really, really would appreciate it. Don't give me nothing on this weekend, or the lads, and that's what I'm going to say abundantly clear. If you want to do something for me, just go over and chuck a few quid into his pot, mate, because he's trying to get 100 grand. He's up to 10 grand. They're doing fundraisers. They are trying their hardest to save this man's life. And this man's got a wife, and he's got a young daughter, and I don't want his daughter to grow up without a father, in my opinion. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that is just not good. So go and help David out. It'll do me a massive favour, and it will help his family out greatly. Really would. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Take it easy, everyone. Have a good Easter weekend, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.
There it is. I've never found a love like this.